All right, next we're going to talk about. Actually, I want to talk about this Walter thing because this is just. I just. So for those who don't know, a man was shot in Philadelphia, and of course the news went out that he was unarmed. For at least a half a day, they were reporting that he was unarmed. Turns out he had a knife, and also turns out he was charging the police officers. They were constantly backing up. They went around two cars trying to back away from him. They did have their guns drawn because he did have a knife, but they were trying to say, "Put down the knife. Put down the knife." They say it multiple times. I've seen the video. There's video evidence of the bystanders, watching what happened, filming it all. The dude had a knife and was going at the cops. What are you thinking? Okay, before I even read this, someone who has a knife can close the distance and do. He was 3 feet away from these guys when they opened fire on him. He could have ran at him, started stabbing him. Like, people don't understand the situations that these cops can be in sometimes. Like, it's a frightening thing to think about. Like, you can go from having someone and you don't know if someone's on something. You don't know where their head's at. You don't know if they're violent or not. But when they're not listening, when you say, "Put down the knife, stop advancing, stop, put down the knife," you're not listening. You're approaching a police officer with a deadly weapon. Yes, a knife is a deadly weapon. You could stab someone and kill them very easily with a knife. Okay? So, I mean, this video is crazy. Like, I've seen it, and I'm bewildered by the fact that people are now burning down Philadelphia. Put the knife down. Man shot, killed by police in West Philadelphia. Incident captured on video. Thank you for not adding the race of the man, Action 6, because he was just a man. I don't, that always bugs me, but when I see this, I want to call it out. Thank you for, putting that, because everyone, race shouldn't be put into this. 2 Philadelphia police officers shot and killed a man who authorities said was armed with a knife and would not put down the weapon. Officers responded around 5:30 p.m. Monday at the 6100 block of Locust Street in West Philadelphia for a domestic call. Here is Walter Wallace right there. Once on the scene, the officers were confronted by a man with a knife. Philadelphia Police Department spokesman Sergeant Eric Grip said, "The man has been identified as 27-year-old Walter Wallace." Grip said Wallace was not adhering to the officer's call to drop the weapon. Witnesses said Wallace's mother was trying to calm her son down and de-escalate the situation. Videos of the fatal confrontation recorded by a bystander and posted on social media shows 2 officers pointing their guns at Wallace as he walked into the street and around a car. The man walked towards the officers as they backed away from him, guns still aimed at him. "Put the knife down. Put the knife down," one officer can be heard saying. According to Grip, the 2 officers fired their weapons and struck Wallace multiple times after he would not drop the weapon. Wallace collapsed on the street. A woman ran up to him and began screaming. Distraught family members ran up to his body. While it's unclear in the video if the man had the knife, witnesses and police said he was holding one. At least a dozen evidence markers were found on the scene. Witnesses and neighbors want to know why less lethal force wasn't used. Why? You could have pulled out a taser. You could have shot him in the leg, says Jada Hilton. See, already, people just don't understand when you have adrenaline, even a bullet. I've seen so many videos of people being shot while charging police officers, getting back up, and continuing to charge them. There was a guy in the street that got shot 5 or 6 times, got back up, and ended up putting one of the cops in a chokehold while holding a knife to his neck. All right, this shooting someone in the leg. First off, aim small and hit small. I don't remember exactly what the phrase is, but you go for center mass. If you start aiming for small spots, you end up missing. You might hit someone behind them. They're trained for center mass. That's what's supposed to happen. And tasers don't work either. There's that video of them, 2 police officers tasing a man on the side of the road because he was fighting them, physically fighting them. He breaks out of the tasers, grabs a gun, and shoots them and killed one of the officers. These officers are trained for this, okay? They know if someone has a knife and they're approaching you and not listening, they are potentially killing one of those officers. That's where these officers are at. Okay? When you approach an officer with a knife with clear intent to continue charging them, they were backing up. They made it seem like it was just around one car. No, they were circling away, trying to get away from this guy. All right? And he kept charging him. The mom was trying to hold him back and was unsuccessful in doing so. Okay? And then he came around the car and approached them in the street. They don't know what was about to happen. What if he charged them? What if he closed the distance? You can close the distance 3 or 4 feet in no time. All right? If you have a knife, you close that distance and you're stabbing them and potentially killing these officers. These officers were protecting themselves. You can hear them. They're trying to de-escalate it. If he put the knife down, he'd be alive. I believe it. 100%. He would have been alive. If he put that knife down, he would have been alive. Guaranteed. They didn't want to kill him. Why would they say put the knife down? If they wanted to kill him, they would have been like, yeah, come at us. No. They're police officers. They're professionals. Okay? And now they're burning down Philadelphia. And not only are they burning down Philadelphia, they're looting everything again. What is the justice there? Okay? He could have killed the police officers. He was attacking them. Why was the mom holding him back? Why did she feel the need to do that? Why? Because she thought that he might actually attack them? Because that's what it looked like. Bystanders confronted Commissioner Daniel Outlaw, who rushed to the scene. She stayed calm, answering as many questions as she could. I'm here to listen. I don't have answers for what happened today. It just happened. Obviously, we got to put everything together, Outlaw told the residents. In a statement, the commissioner said the video raises questions, but she assured the community that a full investigation is underway. Quote, it continues, I have directed the officer-involved shooting investigative unit to begin its investigation. I recognize that the video of the incident raises many questions. Residents have my assurance that those questions will be fully addressed by the investigation. While at the scene this evening, I heard and felt the anger of the community. Everyone involved will be forever impacted, Outlaw said. I will be leaning on what the investigation gleans to answer many unanswered questions that exist. I also plan to join the mayor in meeting with members of the community and members of Mr. Wallace's family to hear the concerns as soon as it can be scheduled. By Monday night, a group of residents took to the streets protesting Wallace's death. Officers could also be seen setting up a perimeter around the 18th District Police Station. Police cars and dumpsters were later set on fire as police struggled to contain the crowds. More than a dozen officers, many with batons in hand, formed a line as they ran down 52nd Street, chasing protesters away from the main thoroughfare. The action cam also captured video of broken windows and vandalized vehicles along 52nd and Pine Streets. The group is also believed to be responsible for broken windows at a number of buildings in University City, including a police station and a Starbucks. At least 30 officers were injured in overnight incidents across West Philadelphia. Officials said one officer was admitted to the hospital with a broken leg and other injuries after being struck by a pickup truck near 52nd and Walnut Streets around 12:45 a.m. Police said an additional 29 officers sought treatment in area hospitals for injuries, most from being struck by debris. These officers have all reportedly been treated and released. More than 30 people have been detained, with several arrests reported as of Tuesday morning. The names of the officers who fired the shots have not been disclosed. Both were wearing body cameras and were taken off street duty pending the investigation. Fraternal Order of Police Lodge Number 5 President John McNesby expressed his support for the officers involved. Quote, Our police officers are being vilified this evening for doing their job and keeping the community safe after being confronted by a man with a knife. We support and defend these officers as they too are traumatized by being involved in a fatal shooting. We ask the public for its patience as investigators work to gather all the facts of this tragic incident in West Philadelphia today, McNesby says. I'm going to reiterate that. It was tragic. All around tragic. I'm saddened that this had to happen. A man has been killed. That's never good. It's never fine. Of course it's terrible. But people are rioting for the wrong reasons. They're screaming out as if it was some sort of, unarmed police brutality, but I saw the videos. It's not. They were backing up. They were pleading with him to put the knife down, to stop going after them, stop charging them. What was he going to do with that knife? He had a knife on him. He was going after these police officers. What did you think was going to happen? Okay? It's traumatizing for everybody on that block. And there's only one person to blame, and that's the person who had that knife that was charging those police officers. Not the officers. Now people are burning down Philadelphia because that guy decided to charge officers with a knife and got shot for it. It's a tragedy, but he shouldn't have been doing that. Now look at this. Justice for Walter Wallace Jr. What do you mean justice? What kind of justice? He was approaching police officers with a knife after they pleaded with him to put it down. What do you want? You know what? They just want to burn the system down. They just want to use anything they can to push the emotions of people that are emotionally triggered. That's what's going on. There's power numbers. Frontliners to the front. No good cops. No bad protesters. No bad protesters? Yeah. No good cops? You're completely wrong. Cops are there to protect us. Okay? They were there because they were probably worried he was going to hurt someone else. Then, of course, he turned his attention to the police officers instead of someone else. Had the police officers not been there. Obviously, they were there for a reason. Okay? Obviously, he was agitated. It's crazy. Look at this. This is probably from last night. Be brave, be smart. What is your plan? What are you planning to do? What is the justice that they're seeking? How can you get justice for someone who did it to themselves? Okay? I'm saddened that he died, but he did go at the cops with a knife. What is your plan with that? Okay, if they didn't shoot him, then what was going to happen? He was approaching them with a knife. The only thing I could think of is he would have attacked them with the knife. I saw the video. Okay, I saw it. It's a shame. So, I want to talk about something that the New York Police Department's doing. This is the kind of thing that I think is needed. All right, they've hosted. This is from their Twitter feed. They've hosted 6 police reform and reinvention listening sessions throughout the New York City, and will be hosting 2 more this week in Manhattan. Be sure to look out for links to register via Zoom or participate in Facebook Live. And that's Dormit Shea, the NYC Police Commissioner. And in that little clip, he's talking about how they have had an incredible drop of crime because they're being very specific with who they're going after. They're not just targeting everyone like New York City used to do, stop and frisk. Okay, that used to be a thing, which admittedly, they admitted was racist. They were targeting specific neighborhoods, which is messed up, and specific races. That's racist. And I'm glad they're not doing that anymore. Now they're going after people who are known criminals that have histories with gun crimes, and they're targeting, and the crime was dropping. Of course, threw that all out the window when, the New York dropped the whole budget by $1 billion. Literally $1 billion. So this is them actually going out, sending police officers into the neighborhood and talking to people and having listening sessions, letting people talk to them. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm totally fine with that. They're literally the protectors of the communities. So for them to go and listen to the community, awesome. This is exactly the kind of stuff that we need. We need that connection. We need to humanize them, to realize that they're human beings. They're human beings that they didn't take that job, that badge to kill people. I'm sorry, you'll never convince me of that. All right? They took the badge to protect people. I know police officers. Every single one of them that I know is a good man and or woman. I don't know any actually female cops. So in my case, every single one of them is a good man. And I won't believe that any one of them got that job to hurt anybody. Quite the opposite. All of them want to just help everybody and protect and serve. That's what police do. Anyway, I just think they're burning down Philadelphia because they want to.